Hi everyone, welcome back to my podcast. My name is Fatin Hazika and today we're going to discuss about unemployment in South Africa. But before I start, let me introduce you guys to our guests. So can you guys introduce me yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Putri Balkis.
Hi, my name is Farhana.
So first, can you explain me about the background of South Africa historically, Balkis?
South Africa is located at the southern tip of Africa and shares borders with several countries. It has diverse population with different ethnics, culture, and languages. Its population has grown from about 50 million in 2010 to nearly 65 million in 2025, which has increased pressure on the job market.
That's very interesting. So Farhana, can you explain me about the economy of South Africa?
Of course, South Africa economic growth has changed a lot between 2010 to 2025. The economic growth in 2011 but slowed down because of electricity shortage, low investment, and other economic challenges. 2020, COVID-19 caused the severe recession, with the economic shrinking by 6.3%. Although it covered in 2021, growth low again from 2022 to 2025 due to inflation and weak investment.
So can both of you guys share with me about the main causes of unemployment that was happening in South Africa?
The first causes is low economic growth. South Africa's economy has grown slowly over the years with only about 0.7% growth annually. This has reduced investment, limited business expansion, and created few job opportunities, leading to higher unemployment.
The second cause is technological change. As technology and automation continue to grow, companies need more skilled workers. This reduces job opportunities for low-skilled workers and increased unemployment among people who lack digital and technological skills.
I also would like to add one more point, which is global economic pressures. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted trade, investment, and business activities, caused many people to lose their job. Although the government introduced a recovery plan, unemployment remains a major challenge.
Thanks for sharing that with me. Guys, now I'm with my other guests, so please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Najwa Safia.
And my name is Nur Ali Adran. So now that we have discussed the causes of unemployment, let's look at the unemployment trend in South Africa over the past few years with Alia and Najwa.
Between 2010 and 2014, the unemployment rate remained between 24% and 25%. However, from 2015 to 2019, it increased because of electricity shortage and weak economic performance.
So what happened during the COVID-19 pandemic?
In 2020, unemployment rose sharply to over 30% due to the COVID-19 pandemic, making South Africa one of the countries most affected by the labor market disruptions.
Did the situation improve after the pandemic?
Although businesses gradually reopened from 2021 onwards, the unemployment rate remained high, fluctuating between 31% and 33%.
And this also shows that the economic growth alone has not been enough to create sufficient jobs for the country's growing labor force. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you guys. Overall, the unemployment trend shows that unemployment continues to be one of the major challenges of South Africa's economy. Now, let's move on to the types of unemployment in South Africa. There are two main types of unemployment that we'll be discussing today, which are structural unemployment and cyclical unemployment. First is structural unemployment. This happens when workers' skills and qualifications do not match the jobs available. Basically, in South Africa, this has been a long-term issue since the global financial crisis. Though new jobs are created every year, there are still not enough for the growing numbers of job seekers. So why is structural unemployment still a major problem?
Because many workers don't have the skills that employers are looking for. As a result, unemployment remained high, increasing from 32.28% in 2024 to 32.29% in 2025.
Now, let's take a look at the second type of unemployment, which are cyclical unemployment.
For example, after the global financial crisis and more recently during economic slowdown, many South Africans lost their jobs. By early 2025, the unemployment rate reached 33.5%, affecting around 8.4 million people.
Conclusion, both structural and cyclical unemployment continue to be major challenges in South Africa. Addressing these issues requires stronger economic growth and better skills development for workers. Now we are diving into a crucial topic that shapes nation, which are the economic consequences of high unemployment. The first major takeaway is lower economic growth. Najwa, please break this down for us. How does unemployment directly stall a nation's growth?
It is a direct chain reaction. When people lose jobs, the workforce shrinks. Fewer people are working and producing goods or services, which means the nation's total output falls. Look at the chart on the slide. In 2024, South Africa's GDP grew by a mere 0.6%. That is incredibly slow.
Right, because without a paycheck, households have less money to spend. What do you think, Farhana?
Exactly. When household income drops, consumer spending plummets. To give you some context, their unemployment rates hit a massive 24.01% in the final quarter of 2021. That was the highest level since 2008. When a third of your workforce is not earning, the economy just suffocates.
That is a staggering number. Now, Farhana, the slide also points out reduced investment and business confidence. How does high unemployment scare away investors?
Think about it from a business owner's perspective. Why would you expand your business or launch a new product if nobody has the money to buy it? This uncertainty destroys confidence. It affects South Africa Business Confidence Index collapsed to a record low of 5 points in 2022 during pandemic.
Wow, 5 points? Isn't 50 points considered the neutral baseline, Najwa?
Yes, 50 is neutral. It stayed below that 50-point mark for years, reflecting deep, persistent pessimism. Local businesses want expand, and foreign investors want bring in new capital. The government itself emphasized that you need strong, inclusive growth first if you want to attract the investment that actually create jobs.
It sounds like a vicious cycle. You need jobs for growth, but you need growth for jobs. Now, let's take a look at the third point, which are higher government expenditure. Najwa, how does this impact the state's wallet?
It creates a double whammy for the government. On one hand, tax revenue dropped because fewer people are working. On the other hand, the government has to spend significantly more on social assistance, unemployment benefits, and emergency job creation programs to keep people afloat.
By 2025, the unemployment rate was still stuck at a very high 22.4%. When a government is consistently burning its budget on immediately social relief, it faces intense fiscal pressure. This means they lose the financial ability to fund long-term development programs. like building schools, hospitals, or major infrastructure.
So high unemployment doesn't just hurt the present economy, it actively robs the country of its future development. Now let me ask you,
Absolutely.
Alia, research highlights a massive link between joblessness and public safety. What do the numbers actually tell us?
The correlation is undeniable. A Florida State University study found that unemployed individuals outside the labor force are the most likely to commit burglary and robbery. According to World Bank data, South Africa hit a staggering peak crime rate of 43.72% in 2020. This spike is driven by chronic joblessness and which literally force people to commit crime just to secure food and basic survival needs.
That is a massive percentage. It shows that people are genuinely desperate. But Balkis, the damage isn't just physical, it's psychological too. What does your data show about the mental health of the unemployed?
It's catastrophic. According to the South African Federation for Mental Health, in 2019, South Africa ranked number 10 in the world for the highest suicide cases. A 2003 study by GEMA also shows that declining mental health, exacerbated by job scarcity and the rising cost of living, is directly driving up rates of gender-based violence.
Whoa, ranking 10 globally for suicide is a massive red flag. Balkis, staying with you, how is this specifically affecting the youth who are trying to enter the market?
The International Labour Organization projects that when graduates remain unemployed for extended periods, their hard-earned skills completely deteriorate. OECD data also warned that persistent youth unemployed causes so much frustration that young people feel qualifications no longer guarantee a job, so they drop out of the economic cycle and completely stop looking for work.
Data makes it clear, unemployment is a systematic failure that destroys safety, mental well-being, and future potential. Now let's start with the government spending. Where does the actual money go?
The government is aggressively increasing public expenditure to stimulate the economy. According to 2025 National Budget, South Africa allocated an additional RM46.7 billion for infrastructure investment over the medium-term expenditure framework. This money is going directly into improving transport, energy, water, and logistics system to build a foundation for long-term employment.
RM46.7 billion is a massive commitment, but what about immediate job creation? Have you seen any direct relief?
Yes, absolutely. Back in October 2020, the government launched the Presidential Employment Stimulus (PES) as a direct response to the pandemic's economic devastation. Presidency data from 2022 shows that this budgetary allocation successfully created over 1 million jobs and livelihood. Young people were hired as school assistant and digital tax allocators.
Over 500,000 young people getting opportunities is a great step forward. Now, Balkis, government spending is only half the battle. What is being done on the tax side to encourage business to hire?
They are implementing tax reduction through an employment tax incentive or ETI. This allows eligible employers to reduce their pay as you earn (PAYE) tax reliability, specifically when they hire young workers seekers. By lowering labor costs, it encourages businesses to open up more roles for youth.
Do we have any clear data on how successful this tax incentive has actually been?
We do. World Bank data shows that between the introduction of the ETI and the end of 2015, private firms claimed over RM205 billion in tax incentive. This massive financial relief supported over 600,000 jobs, which is equivalent to 5.1% of total employment at the time. It heavily benefited lower-income workers, with roughly 15% of employees earning below RM650 per month benefiting the program.
It sounds like a strong push, but I assume there is still a catch.
Exactly. While the ETI helped, the World Bank and the institutional data from 2025 emphasize that government spending is not enough. South Africa desperately needs stronger private investment and greater market competition to generate faster economic growth and sustainably lower those unemployment numbers.
It is clear that balancing massive infrastructure spending with private business incentive is a delicate but necessary tightrope walk. We are now at our last segment, so let's straightaway start with the first major point from the data, which are lowering the interest rate. The South African Reserve Bank (SARB) has been utilizing an expansionary monetary policy. Can you guys walk us through how that is supposed to help the average person?
Absolutely. When inflation is under control, the SARB stepped into lower interest rate. The logic is straightforward. Lower rates mean cheaper borrowing costs for everyone, household and businesses. This encourages people to spend more, book private investment, and allow businesses to expand. Ultimately, when businesses grow, they hire more people, which drive up employment.
It sounds like a perfect chain reaction. But Najwa, looking at the IMF data from 2025, South Africa's unemployment rate still set at a massive 32.8% in 2024 despite these rate cuts. Why hasn't it solved the problem?
This is the hard reality. Lowering interest rate is not a silver bullet. The IMF noted that the impact of lower rates is gradual. It takes time to filter through the economy. More importantly, monetary policy works best when it is paired with deep structural reform and stronger overall economic growth. It cannot do the heavy lifting alone.
So it's a piece of the puzzle, not the whole picture. Now, let's shift to the second measure mentioned, which are open market operations. Najwa, how did the SARB use this tool to keep the economy afloat?
According to the SARB's 2020 data, they step in during periods of intense financial stress to inject additional liquidity into commercial banks. They did this through repurchase operation and other money market facilities. By pumping cash into the banking system, they ensured that banks could keep lending money to businesses and households when they need it most.
And Farhana, that liquidity injection became absolutely critical when the pandemic hit, right?
Visual proof of that is not the World Bank's 2021 report. South Africa economy actually contracted by 6.3% in 2020 due to COVID-19. Without this accommodative monetary measure to stabilize the financial market and support cash flow, the economic recovery and future employment prospects would have looked significantly worse.
Fascinating insights from both of you. It is clear that while monetary policy is a vital tool, it requires a fully supportive economic ecosystem to truly dent unemployment numbers. Thank you, Farhana and Najwa, for breaking this down for us. Guys, that is the end of my podcast, and I hope you guys can gain a lot of information from this podcast. So thank you guys for watching. Bye!